There's the possibility that Rachel may show up tonight, so if I keep scanning the crowd, it's because of her. I'm about to read from her chapter. Rachel's an ER nurse at an unnamed hospital somewhere in Manhattan. By 11:30 p.m., the emergency room waiting area no longer feels chaotic. It's a cold night in early December, though a couple of broken candy canes strewn across a corner table are the only holiday decorations. The place is far from festive. It has that typical, nondescript beige feel, bland-colored linoleum. These floors jut up against creamy walls that have blue accents and generic sets of impressionist watercolors. Everything feels scuffed, worn, and old. The newest, shiniest things around are the Purell hand sanitizer dispensers adhered to the walls. The only windows in the waiting room look not outside, but onto little offices. There's a triage office, a patient representative office, and a security office. Security and surveillance are omnipresent. Staff security guards go in and out of the security office. 2 cops linger near the triage office, then handcuff a guy as he comes out of the ER and whisk him away into the night. Over the next 2 hours, other officers will filter in and out of the waiting area. Their pace is practiced, leisurely, and does not reveal whether or not they are dealing with emergencies. One officer, just before 1 a.m., stands inside the triage office. He opens the door to the waiting area, ushers in a gray-haired man, and partially lowers the blinds. A nurse comes to take the man's blood pressure. Another nurse, Rachel, is being trained in triage tonight. She wears the navy scrubs that designate her an ER nurse, but they're not the standard issue, ill-fitting scrubs. Like other medical professionals who value style as much as comfort, Rachel orders her scrubs made to fit. She's in her mid-20s with her blondish-brown hair, slender face, and slight frame, and she always looks fit and fashionable. It's dead tonight, she says, a little bored, though the waiting room is crowded with family members. A mandatory suspension of visiting hours in the ER fills the waiting area. They await an announcement notifying them that they can go back inside to the ER. When the Letterman show fills the ceiling-mounted television, there are less than 15 people here. By the time Craig Ferguson begins at 12:50 a.m., there's about double that. Rachel nods to a couple of officers, whispers a few words to another nurse, and slips quietly through the sliding glass doors to the ambulance bay beyond. Across the street, an all-night deli serves coffee and sandwiches to night shift nurses, doctors, paramedics, and the occasional waiting family member. Rachel orders her usual large coffee, though she prefers the place next door for soy milk that they always remember to put in her coffee. She settles down at one of the 2 or 3 tables inside the deli in its recently remodeled section that somewhat pitifully suggests a quaint cafe. It's late, around 2 a.m., and there is nothing quaint about this place. As Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree plays overhead, Rachel explains in a soft-spoken tone the difference between working the day shift and the night shift in the ER. If you come in at 8 o'clock at night in the ER, she explains, that's the busiest time. So you come in and it's absolutely crazy. There's a ton of people, and your night gets calmer as it goes on. Rachel describes the ebbs and flows of the night shift, the crush of patients treating the ER as primary care. And this all starts around 5 p.m. before a lull, and then patients are transferred upstairs around 2 a.m. Then there's less people coming in, more people going up to the floor, and then the people that came in at 5 in the afternoon who didn't need to be admitted, they've all been worked up, they've gone home. So it's kind of a nice feeling to come in and have it be crazy, and then have it clean up and get better as the night goes on. As a new nurse, Rachel has also spent some time on the day shift during her orientation a few months earlier, so she can compare the 2 shifts. She's still studying, hoping to become a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and like most new recruits, she was hired for the night shift. You have younger staff at nights, she explains. They don't have the seniority, so it's always younger nurses. It's one reason she prefers the night shift, and maybe why the night shift nurses she feels work well together compared to those who work the daylight hours. For the ER, at least, I think the night staff just works better together as a team. I really like nights better. And I like coming in and having it be crazy and then having my day get nicer as it goes on instead of crazier. She takes in the quiet hum of the deli, thinks a moment, and then adds, and I can come here and sit and drink my coffee for an hour, and it's quiet. You don't get that during the day. Rachel gathers up her paper cup of half-drunk coffee and pushes through the glass door of the deli. It's snowing out, but only a few dozen yards to the bay, where she can enter the emergency room again. The ambulances would be waiting there were they not on diversion, but tonight, as she says, it's dead. Before heading back into the maze of beds and whirring machinery, Rachel stops a moment and says, "Yeah, I think working nights has created a stillness in my life."